going on, everybody?
Is it real?
It is real.
Are we live now?
We're live, bro.
Hey, I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
I
I'm
know,
not gonna
me
lie.
too.
And I know the Bay Area has been waiting for this day for a long time. They just didn't know it.
Okay, well, let's introduce ourselves first because I don't know if they know who we are. It's Freska and Rudy from 102.9, the best throwbacks in R&B.
What's cracking, baby?
What's up? We do mornings 6 to 10 here in the Bay Area. And this is good. This is called Hit List Live, y'all.
Right. We usually do the hit list on air, but they were like, you know what? It's so fire that we want you guys to go live and direct to the entire world. So here we're on YouTube.
Yeah, and we basically talk about anything and everything. But let's talk about first about what's going on at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco because it's changing. And born and raised in the Bay Area, it is a little difficult to see that instead of bringing in more seafood spots, because they demolished like Alioto's, or that's going to be gone.
Okay.
But they brought in Nations.
Of course. It's a Bay Area staple.
I mean, it's great. The hamburgers are great and all that stuff, but this is the wharf. This is the wharf, Fisherman's Wharf.
What would you like them to have there? You know, if you don't want Nations to come in and provide us our delicious burgers, what would you rather have in spot instead of Nations?
Okay, I'm just saying it's called Fisherman's Wharf, so we should have some other more seafood restaurants because that's where we would go and get our clam chowder. We can go and crack some crab on the side there, and it was fresh.
I think you're
it's
giving
not Burger Wharf.
You're giving the Bay Area too much credit. I don't know if you noticed this, but everybody born after 1990 has some sort of food allergy, so they have no business. They have no business eating. I know a guy that's never even touched a shrimp in his life because he's afraid that it's going to close up his throat.
Oh, okay. Well, if he's allergic to it, yeah, okay.
I'm just saying though, it's the Bay Area. Everybody has either
shellfish
a nut allergy or allergic to a paper clip or something like that. You know, so I could totally understand why. I mean, I'm a fan of the bread bowls, the clam chowder bread bowls.
Heck yeah, like boudins. That's so good.
I would buy just the bowl soaked in the clam chowder. You can save the chowder. Just give me the residue of the chowder in the bread bowl and sell me that. I'd buy that.
Look how excited you are talking about seafood and the chowder and stuff. So bring more of that, less of the burgers. That's what I have to say.
No. Here's the thing. Nations, first of all, when it comes to like burgers around the country, I feel like, especially there's two in particular. We always talk about In-N-Out and we always talk about Whataburger when we're talking about like burger wars. Mm-hmm. That seems to come up a lot between California burger lovers and Texas burger lovers, right? But I feel bad because Nations is always getting kicked out of this conversation. It's like this third party that never gets involved. And I know they don't have it down in LA or anything like that, but that's actually what makes it more special is that it's a Bay Area. Right. It's a crown jewel of Northern California.
Okay, just one. That's going to be the last. I hope that's going to be the last burger spot coming into the San Francisco's Fisherman's Wharf.
Give me a big old Nations burger with half an onion in that thing. And just have me smelling like onion for the next 3 hours. That's how I like my burger. So shout out to all the clam chowder lovers out there. I know I'm feeling your vibe and everything, but if a little Nation's burger sneaks up in there, man, don't hate, participate.
Okay, well, you know what did go away? And honestly, when I passed by this is also in the Bay Area. It's when you drive down the peninsula on 280. It's over by what is called Hillsborough, very, very affluent neighborhood. But there is a statue of Father Juniper Serra. It's on a stretch of 280, like I said, in the peninsula. And he points at you while you're on the freeway like this. And it's been there, or it was there for 50 years. They removed it, I think it was a month or two ago. I didn't even know it was gone. And that thing is 50, I don't know how many, 26 feet tall or something.
So you won't miss it. So you didn't even know it was there.
I know, but the thing was, it's a part of everybody's, whoever does the drive on there every day. And the interesting thing was, every time I would see him, I'm like, okay, I can gauge how many miles or minutes I am away from San Jose because I live in Daly City. But then the interesting thing is that I didn't even know it was gone, and I saw the headline on in the SF Gate or something like that, and I was like, oh, what's going to happen to the Father Juniper Serra statue? Oh, it's gone. Yeah. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone on that. First of all, I didn't even know it was there. I had no idea that they had a 50-foot statue there. But it's nice to know that there's
25 feet.
Yeah, 25 feet. See, I didn't even know how tall it was.
But it was 50 years, 25 feet.
Yeah, so that's it's nice. It's nice that they had that there as like a landmarker, especially for people that live on the peninsula. But if you didn't even notice that it was gone until you read a headline, I mean, how much did you actually notice that? You know,
I didn't. I had to read it on a headline, and I thought it was still there, and they said it's gone.
but see, it just goes to show. It just goes to show. You know how they say like sometimes you don't appreciate things until they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you just don't appreciate things.
Well, you know what? I would like to see maybe a statue of Nick Bosa.
No. No.
We can replace it with okay, maybe Purdy.
No, let's do
I like those guys.
let's do a statue of Nick Bosa's doctor because he's been hurt so many times that
yeah.
we really owe his doctor a statue. The fact that he keeps getting him healthy enough to go back onto the field.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do a statue of anybody in the Bay Area, like who would you give a statue to of somebody in the Bay Area? Like,
gosh, I
who
don't even
deserves
know.
one?
I can't even think right now.
I'll tell you
That's
right now.
too hard.
I'll tell you
I
right now.
need more time.
The only people that we really associate greatness with in the Bay Area, and this is kind of weird if you ask me. We only associate greatness with like either technology, sports, or music. So if I had to pick one of those three, it'd be like E40.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You know,
of course, yeah.
And then it'd be Ricky Henderson because that to me
Okay.
that's the greatest Bay Area professional sports athlete of all time. I think he's like super underrated.
Yeah.
And I guess if I had to do the technology one, I mean, would it be Steve Jobs or would it be Mark Zuckerberg? Like which one would you rather give a statue to?
I wouldn't do any of those guys.
Why not?
I mean, I love E40. Don't get me wrong, but I would have to probably pick the alligator at the California Academy of Sciences that doesn't move.
The alligator that doesn't
Yeah,
move.
because I think he turned 50 also.
Oh, okay. So an alligator statue is what you want.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess it's better than Alligator Island like they have in Florida. So.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm sure a lot of Mexicans and Latinos around you heard about that place too. Believe me, that was a headline thing that we didn't know about until we saw it in the newspaper. Also,
I actually thought you were talking about something else, but I won't talk about it.
What were you? What?
No, I thought you were talking about like in Florida. I went to Gatorland, but that's something else.
Oh no, I'm talking about the very interesting Alligator Island that they have for I guess for camping. I guess we'll call it camping.
Okay.
We'll call it
I don't
camping.
even know who you're talking. I have to look it up.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
See, this just goes back to the Junipero Serra thing. You need to read more headlines. You need to read more headlines so you know what's going on out there.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this, though. The world goes round and round. We already know this. And when it stops, right, they say love makes the world go round. When it stops, though, I would have to say that love does not pay for the bills. It doesn't pay the mortgage. Love doesn't pay for, what am I trying to say? Health insurance. So when you get married, I mean, I'm taking a quick U-turn here, right? Like, would you rather get married for love or stability?
If those are my two options, love or stability.
Hold on, let's just get in the groove right here.
First of all, if I ever get married, it'll be for health benefits. That'll be the number one reason.
But who's gonna pay for it, anyways? That's a whole conversation.
Wherever my wife works, I'm sure my wife is gonna have a better job than me, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to just jump on her benefits. But if I had to choose between the two, which I think it's kind of messed up that you would have to choose between two things in order to like have a healthy relationship. But for the sake of this conversation, I think that the main reason to get married is not love. I know that's the most romantic thing. That's what the Hallmark Channel has been selling little girls for decades.
Yeah.
But the greatest reason I think to get married is so that you can have a stable, consistent partner, somebody to witness your life, somebody to actually be there through the thick and thin.
Yeah.
That's what you get married for stability. If you fall in love with somebody who is not a stable person, you may have a lot of great stories, but you are headed down a dead end road.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time before that whole thing falls apart.
I'm laughing because I'm just taken back to when I was 23 years old, and it was all about love. It was all about love. I love you, you love me, and we're like, let's get married.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. We knew each other for 6 months. I know, don't judge me.
Wow.
But, yeah. And then
You were really young.
And then he got somebody pregnant. And I was still willing to talk to him about it.
Wow. And you know what? I bet you he told that girl that he loved her.
Oh, for sure.
So,
well, they ended up getting married and they had like 8 kids.
well, see that proves my point even further. Love could be faked. You could give the idea. You could make somebody believe that you're loving them. But stability, You can't doubt that.
But you can
can't
also
doubt that
fake your
whatsoever.
stability nowadays, though.
How?
What do you mean how? People will be like, oh, look at his car, look at his watch, da da da. And then the longer you get to know them, then that is when you can really see if they are real or not.
I don't know. I don't think
They can have all those things and be living at home with their parents.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I don't think you can fake stability. I mean, you can't fake not living at home with your parents, you know, unless you go on a date with a girl and, like, she's always asking, like, oh, I'd love to see your place. And you're like, sorry, they're fumigating. You know, like, they can't be fumigating for 3 years, you know? It's a lot harder to fake stability, but that's what makes it so valuable is the fact that you actually have to put in work. You actually have to do something. Stability is all about action. You know, you have to work to make sure that you're paying the rent and you're paying the bills. And if you fall in love with somebody who doesn't believe in that or who doesn't partake in that, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time before you start looking at each other and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I bet you that's one of the biggest things that's the first sign of the end of a relationship is when somebody starts feeling like the other person is not reliable. That's when you know you're headed down the drain.
You love me though.
Don't matter.
Yeah, I know.
It don't matter. I love you, but I can't do this anymore.
I know.
You know, and that's the beginning of the end of any relationship.
I do want to take this time right now to say hello to Michelle of Richmond. She actually hit us up on our call-in feature, and so say hi to her.
What up, Michelle?
Hi, Michelle. But what she did mention on the call-in feature is that, well, she's a I don't know if she said 90s baby, but she did mention this part, is that there were some shows from the 90s that were actually voted the best shows in the 90s, and there were 3 of them. There was Friends. She also mentioned there was Frasier. And
probably Seinfeld.
Yeah, that was
gotta be Seinfeld.
Yeah. But you know, those weren't my favorite shows back in the 90s, though.
Well, can we just talk about these 3 real quick?
They were good, though. I'm not saying they weren't good.
They're all right. They're all right. Seinfeld kind of grew on me like a mole that I just got used to.
Wow.
You know, I was never really a huge fan of it, but then after a while, you just kind of like have it on in the background as just like, you know, just background noise. Friends was okay. But it was just I couldn't relate to it. I couldn't relate to Friends. Personally, I think it was a ripoff of Living Single. I don't know if you remember that show, Living Single.
Yeah, but Friends came first, though.
No, Living Single came first.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can we get a check on that? Can we get a check on that?
We'll get somebody on that. We don't have anybody here to do that.
But fact check that?
It was Living Single first and then Friends. So I think it was like a direct ripoff.
Really?
And Frasier was interesting because Frasier was a spinoff from Cheers.
Right.
So I grew up watching Cheers.
I loved Cheers.
And I always thought to myself, like, okay, Frasier Crane is like this intellectual dude who seems to have it all together and is well respected.
That's a cool name too, by the way.
And he's well respected at the bar. What the hell is he doing at the bar every day? Why is he hanging out? Why is he hanging out with George Wendt? Why is he hanging out with Cliff? Why is he hanging out with Sammy and company? You know what I mean? Like he should have a better life. So I always thought it was interesting that he was even in the bar to begin with. So I never understood his show.
Living Single started in 1993. Friends is 94.
There you go. There you go.
Really?
There you go. I'm just saying direct ripoff, you know?
Yeah.
So
thank you, by the way.
But respect to those 3. I mean, I'm sure they were good shows, but I'm with you though. They weren't my favorites.
Yeah. I did love the Facts of Life.
Oh my, look at you.
That was, I want to say
we're talking about the 90s, Freska.
I know, but I'm saying early 90s. There was still Who's the Boss still in like the early 90s?
It was late 80s, early 90s.
I worked a lot in the 90s.
Your favorite
so
show?
I didn't get to watch a lot of TV, and I didn't even have cable. Okay, like until I was until like the year 2000 is when I got cable.
Well, hold on a second. Some of our favorite shows that we grew up with in the 90s were like on just regular
TV. I know, but in the 90s,
really need that.
In the 90s, I didn't get to really watch because I worked a lot.
Okay, let me just explain something to anybody who's following this conversation right now. If your favorite sitcom of the 90s wasn't Martin, I don't know what you're smoking.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Because to me, that was hands down. That was the quintessential 90s sitcom. You had a very funny dude as the lead guy doing multiple characters. You had the whole romance dynamic, him and Gina. They had catchphrases galore.
Yeah.
Damn, Gina, you go, girl. Get the step in. It was literally the quintessential 90s TV show. And if you're not with that,
listen.
Look at that. That's it. Shanae.
Yep.
Roscoe.
Hey, whenever Shanae came through, I was like, we gotta pay attention.
Dragonfly Jones.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Wait. Is he the one? Which one of Dragonfly Jones? The karate dude?
He was the karate dude.
Yeah.
He was the karate dude. Silence.
Yeah,
he was the man. I'm telling you, that
it was so
good.
good.
Yeah, it was the quintessential '90s TV show. If you're not on board with that, I mean, I don't know what you were watching in the '90s. What was it, X-Files? What
Fresh
were you
Prince
into?
of Bel-Air was good, but then towards the end, it was like, I don't know.
The problem with Fresh Prince is that it got a little too emotional at the end for me. You know, I wanted to keep it funny. I wanted it to remain like a super funny. But that's really interesting though, because sometimes a sitcom gets so good and it gets so like it picks up so much momentum that you have to end it like on an emotional. You have to put like emotional little bow on it.
Well, they wanted to say bye.
They had to.
You know,
because NBC said bye, and they were like, "You're getting whooped by Martin every week."
But wouldn't you rather have that goodbye than just they never come back? You didn't even know that it was canceled, and then they just they didn't address
like the way
their fans?
The way they did the light skin Aunt Viv or the dark skin Aunt Viv.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did to her.
Yeah.
They just one day you just turned it on, it was a completely different human being. Playing Aunt Viv, and then I'm looking at Uncle Phil like, hey, bro, you're not gonna say nothing about this?
I know,
like that's
I
your
know.
wife right there. You gotta, is that? I mean, I know that happens in like many households,
it was
but
like, yeah.
Can I just give one honorable mention?
Go.
And I know this is gonna sound weird.
Go.
90s sitcom.
Go.
Murphy Brown. I don't know why. But I was into that show. It made me feel smart.
What was the name of the actress?
Candace.
Oh yeah,
Candace Bergman. Candace Bergen. Candace Bergen. Shout out Candace Bergen. I don't know where you are, but you were my 90s lovely. Okay? I loved your blazers.
Yes, you did. I remember she was
rocking
strong.
She was rocking pantsuits like Steve Harvey was back in the day. She was on it.
Okay, so so the long goodbye. You were fine with that real short one, and then with actually no, you weren't fine with that. You were happy that they actually said bye to you.
Right.
But that leads me to this next thing, because we may actually be able to have longer goodbyes at the airport at SFO, because they are starting this. Well, they're trying to get this approved because they're doing this in other airports, and it's called a visitor's pass.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this is where you can actually go through TSA even if you don't have a boarding pass.
Ooh.
And then go ahead and hang out at the airport, because SFO has museums. They have great restaurants. They have this banh mi place. It's so good. But you can't go and taste it unless you're actually leaving. So, visitor's pass. So would you want to have, because they're talking about some safety issues too, because what business do you have?
Well, listen.
Going to the airport.
Anytime I get a chance to walk by TSA and just like just lift my nose up at them, any chance I can to bypass TSA, I will take that. So I might just go just to roast TSA from time to time.
So your visitor pass, you want this?
Oh goodness, I can't stand TSA. It's like and if I get a chance to just walk around them, I'll take that, right? But in terms of going to the airport just to hang out and maybe see my friends off or my family off,
Yep.
I'm a huge fan of the long emotional goodbye, and there's no other place in the world like the airport where you could actually witness a long emotional goodbye.
Yeah, I loved that, being able to say bye at the gate. Remember those days? I mean,
people crying.
Yeah.
You know, you're look. There's two beautiful moments in humanity: when you're saying goodbye, and then when you're saying hello at the airport. Also, you ever see those people with the sign that says "Hey, Dad" or "Mommy," and then they show up, and it's like this big moment, and all the drama from last Thanksgiving is all of a sudden forgotten about.
Yeah, because I think now they do that at the baggage claim.
Yeah, and it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Look, you go to the Oakland airport. I drop my dad off. I'm not going to see him for a couple of months, or I drop my mom off or whatever. And you got the police with the whistle blowing, like, "Hey, you got to keep it moving."
Get out of here,
and I'm like, "Bro, I'm trying to say bye to my grandma. Like, is it cool? You know?" So I'm a huge fan of the long emotional goodbye. Even when I go to parties, I love taking an extra 2 hours to say bye to everybody. You know,
is that a Mexican thing? I know you go to it's a Filipino thing for sure. I'm Filipino.
That's an everybody thing. That's a human thing.
I don't
you know.
know.
What I mean? Well, look, they do have something called an Irish goodbye. And they're not Mexican or Filipino, and I guess but I think
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I think they do it in Ireland. In Ireland, it's okay to do an Irish goodbye because it's such a small island. You're gonna see somebody that you know in 5 minutes anyway, so it's all good. But I'm not a fan of that because it's like it just kind of feels like you're cheating everybody. You know, I came to hang out with the family. I came to hang out with my friends. Tell me how much you're going to miss me. Tell me how much fun. Let's talk about how much fun we had and how we got to do this again. And we shouldn't wait so long in between visits. Like, I want that. Otherwise, I kind of feel like you don't like me.
So that's kind of like a Rudy Ortiz pass at SFO instead of a visitor's pass.
Yeah,
I mean, call it the Ortiz family pass?
Yeah, and it's only offered by Spirit. That's it. That's the only airline that offers it.
Oh my
So
god!
I'll take a long goodbye any day of the week. Please give me the longest goodbye ever.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is our first Hit List Live, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I don't know when the next one's going to be. Maybe tomorrow.
We might just pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, but just bookmark this. I guess like us and subscribe.
Subscribe, get the notifications. We'll let you know when we're back, or YouTube will let you know when we're back.
We also have an app. It's the 102.9 app. Go to your app store right now, download that, and then use the call-in feature so that we can actually hear your voice and we can communicate with you. And you never know. One of your questions we might actually talk about here on the show.
Yeah, and you guys see that little yellow bar at the bottom of the screen?
This,
the Instagram that we're asking you to follow. Go to Freska and Rudy on Instagram. Give us a follow and just enjoy the show, baby.
Yeah, that's also another way that we can talk. DM us, all that cool stuff.
See, we're doing a long goodbye right now.
I know.
Doesn't it feel good, though?
I do. I love it.
You gotta love it.
Wait, just one more thing. You can have your, your logo right here.
Straight up. Yep. Freska and all her space is for sale. Whatever you guys want to, whatever you need her to sell, she'll do it.
All right. Bye.